Hey, we're here from the old Smokehouse, Kelleybillies. We having fun.
It's always.
And so today, we're going to talk about a little something. And I got my good friend Marty. He's been with us in some tight places. He didn't do that kind of stuff in New Jersey.
No.
Marty. Okay, I just wanted to show. Marty's from the north, but he's married to a girl from Georgia. Some of y'all don't know. So he's a man without a country.
We all are.
Well, that's true, especially now.
Especially now.
Well, boy, we better hunt while we can.
Yes.
Okay. This is post-election. Okay. So anyway, what we're here to talk about today is what, Marty? What did you come to ask me about here?
I'm going to ask you about your book.
Okay. Yes, the great thing here. And what we've got is I Ain't Even Lyin is the name of the book, hardcover and softcover. Just to say right off the bat, with Christmas coming up, it's a great present because short stories, and really and truly, it fits really good. We had it this size, but so that it'll fit right on the back of the toilet because short stories, for a good setting. And then you just, go to the next chapter later on. Plus, if you run out of paper, this is great. You got blank pages in the back. You can just rip them out and use them. Okay, that was stupid.
That's
okay.
All right. We don't mind.
Okay.
I do have some questions for you.
Okay. What do you think?
You are known somewhat as a storyteller. Just a little bit as a storyteller.
I have been known for that. Yes, I have.
Where did you start coming up with these stories? What was your first story?
My first story that I wrote was a story called The Runaway Hearse. Wrote that back over 20 years ago. And I had some help, and in fact, I'd like to let you know that was a story I enjoyed writing back then, but I just didn't know how to kind of package it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I entered a contest and won a contest because I used to love to coon hunt in a coon hunting magazine, and I actually won this contest. And
what was the name of the coon hunting magazine?
Coonhound Bloodlines.
If any of y'all remember that.
Yeah, it's still a magazine for people that are coon hunters. That's what that is. So
was that based on a true story?
It was not based on a true story.
Is there any truth in any of your stories?
There are true people, true locations, and some of the stuff is true. I just want you to know that.
Do you have a percentage that you have to have of truth in your stories to make them believable?
Yes, you got to. In fact, I'll tell you this. Back in the 80s, when I wrote that story, my mom calls me on the phone and tells me, you won't believe this, there's an old gentleman from our church called and said, hey, where's this little town that he wrote about in The Runaway Hearse? And she said, Joe, it's a fictional story. It's not really a place. But I just wanted to know where it's at. I've been raised here in Northwest Florida all my life. I just don't know where it's at. She said, Joe, it's not true. It's a fictional story. And he said, oh, not lie about that. So he hung the phone up. He thought I was lying. But, the thing is, I Ain't Even Lyin, the lost art of storytelling, of Southern storytelling. This is a book compiled of short stories. And my daughter really calls me to write a book. So my daughter come to me and said, Dad, I've heard all kind of stories that you tell, and I hear new ones, and I've been around you years. Why don't you write a book? And so I said, well, I think I will. And so then I started compiling some of these stories together and came up with some new ones. The way I write is I write, and a lot of times I'll have to stop because I don't know what's going to happen next. So I'm just as excited as to write the stories as I am some of the people that read them. We've had some great response from people.
So you're known more for standing in a crowd and telling the story, so it's kind of just made up as you go along.
I have been known to do that, yes.
So was it difficult to put it into words?
Well, I had to find a new way. Yes, I had to transition from telling a story, because the way I like to talk to people is I try to watch it and get the eye contact and then feed off the person that's already bit. Once I got them, I start working on the next person.
And you can't do that
And well, the way I try to tell a story is I want to, because I'm trying to live right and try to do right. I used to years ago just leave people with a lie and walk off. But now I try to tell a story to where I thought in my mind there's been many times I go, can't believe they still believe this. And I'll keep going until they go, oh man, you're not telling the truth. You know, so I cut up with them, and it's a big yarn, and it's a lot of fun.
That's fun. Now I know most of these stories have inspirations. One of my favorites in here is Grandpa's Shotgun. What's the inspiration for that story right there?
Well, my grandpa Lipham was a big influence in my life when I was a little boy because I'm from a broken home. And I used to spend time up at his farm. I say this a lot, but he's probably the first superhero I was around, and really the only one I ever knew, and since and now. He's just the only one I ever knew that wore overalls. I mean, there's no superheroes with overalls on.
No, there aren't.
But he was a great storyteller, and he nicknamed me Peer Eye because my big old eyes would get big, and I'd sit there, and he loved to tell stories because he'd feed off of me just staring at him, you know. And he would tell these stories, and he had the right way of telling them, and it was just an art. Right. And so that was part of it. Plus my childhood, getting to go up to his farm and ramble through the woods. You know, it's just a lot of these stories are based on that area. And you know, when I read something, you know, we all put that story we're reading in our imagination. Our imagination goes somewhere of something we know, right, or we imagine it. So that's the place I imagine. So there's several stories. In fact, like we've got props. Like in fact, you was with me when we killed the.
What's the name of these?
The Grant and Lee buck.
Grant.
There's a story in here about this two-headed buck. There's a picture of it on the front of the book. And this is a fine buck here. A lot of people don't even know it. This is probably a world record that people don't even know about, Marty. And people are going to now that it's on the show.
We're gonna know.
So this is an amazing thing. And
now,
so
with all that said, I know on this last chapter you have in here, if I don't do it, I ain't gonna do it. If I said that right. You know,
yes, that's it. That's very good.
Tell me about that.
That's my motto.
Why was that written?
Well, because there was times, you know how you see people in movies especially, or show, you know, some kind of show where they're on the mountain, and you see jumbled up balls of paper, and the sun's setting all day long, and the lake is beautiful, and they're writers, and they're making millions. Well, it ain't that way with me, because I've got 4 kids, and there was times I had to write because when kids were asleep, or when I was sitting in a tree stand or a shooting house or something. When times got quiet, I had to wait till they went to bed. So I came up with this motto: if I don't do it, I ain't gonna do it. And I actually wrote a chapter on creative writing and on just doing projects. There are people that have stuff and projects they intend to do that they'll never do unless they get out there and do it. There's a lot of things people have done over the years that they have to force themselves to do, and they really don't get the recognition because a lot of people don't know what the blood, sweat, and tears went behind doing it.
All right, real quick while we're closing here, name of the book again?
If I don't do it, I ain't gonna do it.
Oh, it was I Ain't Even Lyin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I Ain't Even Lyin.
All right, any last words?
Well, you know, if you have a business and you'd like to sell some of these, we can sign them for you at your location. We've got a nice little cool little stand that we put them on, and you know, I just want to say this has been a real fun experience, and hopefully more and more people enjoy it. I've had a lot of great response from people that have just really enjoyed it for the whole family. I read it to my kids at night. I just started reading it again to my kids at night when they go to sleep. So and my kids are going, "Is this real?" But,
real enough.
All right.
All right.
We're off. Thank you.
Thank you.